All right, this is lesson 9, volume of familiar solids and cones and spheres. Okay. All right. We are going to use the figure to the right for parts A through C. It says, what is the area of the base? So the area here is length times width, or 12 times 3. So the area here is 36 centimeters squared. It says, what is the height of the figure? The height is 8 centimeters. What is the volume of the figure? So the volume equals the area of the base times the height, which is 36 times 8. So the volume equals 288 centimeters cubed. Okay. So the volume of the rectangular prism is 295.68 inches cubed. What is the width? So if I have volume equals length times width times height, we substitute in the volume. So we have 295.68. We substitute in our length, which is 11, our height, which is 6.4, and we want to find the width. So in this particular case, and actually I'm going to put this in the proper way. So we want to find the width, and then our height is 6.4. We can multiply the 11 and the 6.4, so we get 295.68 equals 70.4 times W. Dividing both sides by 70.4. I get W equals 4.2. So our answer is 4.2 inches. Okay. Let me move that up just a little bit so you can see the rest of that. Okay. So now, next, we have volume is the space that a three-dimensional figure can occupy. The volume of a glass is the amount of liquid that it can hold. Volume of a rectangular prism is volume equals the area of the base times the height, or length times width times height. Okay. Next, when working with circular 2 and 3-dimensional figures, we can express our answers in 2 ways. One is exact and will contain the symbol for pi. The other is an approximation, which usually uses 3.14 for pi. Unless noted otherwise, we will have exact answers that contain the pi symbol. Using what we learned in the opening exercise, determine the volume of the cylinder shown below. Leave your answer in terms of pi. Okay, so first of all, our volume, or our formula for our volume of the cylinder, okay, is volume equals pi r squared h. So here we have pi. R is for radius, so it's 2 squared. And then our height here is 5.3. So here, our answer that we are going to work with, we are going to leave our answer in terms of pi. What that means is we want pi in our answer. So when I multiply this, I get pi times 4 times 5.3. So our answer here is 21.2 pi centimeters cubed. In other words, pi is in our answer, okay? So this is the exact answer. And this is in terms of pi, okay? So next, now we're going to investigate a cone, okay? So we're going to investigate a cone, okay? What would be the general formula for the volume of a cone? Our formula would be volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, so to find the volume here, we would have volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h equals 1/3 pi. Our radius is 7, so 7 squared. Our height is 18. Okay, so now we have our calculator here. To do our math, we have 7 squared, which is 49, times 18. And what I'm going to do first is I am going to multiply that 1/3 multiplied by 49 multiplied by 18 equals, so we have 294 pi, and then I'm going to multiply it by pi. In our case, I'm going to leave it in terms of pi, and that is our answer. The next one I don't think I'm going to leave in terms of pi. I'm going to actually give you the answer to that so that we can find out what that is. So next, our exercise. Again, we are leaving our answers in terms of pi. So it says, use the diagram to the right to answer the following questions. What is the area of our base? So our area here is pi r squared, and that is pi times 6 squared is our area. So our area here is 6 pi inches squared. Our height here is 25 inches. So our volume of this cylinder would then be 36 pi times 25, which would then equal 900 pi inches cubed. Okay. So now let's move this down. So we have used the diagram to figure the volume of a right cylinder circular cone. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So here we are going to actually use the pi button. Okay. So here I have volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So now we are going to fill in the blanks here. So we've got 1/3 pi. R is 4 squared. Our height is 9. equals 1/3 pi times 16 times 9. So this we can put all of this in our calculators, and this is how we would put this in. We would put in, okay, 1/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 16 multiplied by 9 equals, and here we have 150.7964474. And we will round it to the nearest tenth, so 150.8 millimeters cubed. Excuse me. So now the next question says, use the diagram below to determine which has the greater volume, the cone or the cylinder. Okay, well, let's do them and see what happens. For the volume of the cylinder, I have volume equals pi r squared h. So pi, our radius is 4, squared times our height is 6. So we have pi times 16 times 6. So we have 16 times 6. So we have 96 pi centimeters cubed. For the cone, we have our volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So here we have 1/3 pi times 6 squared times 8. So 1/3 pi times 36 times 8. So we have here 1/3 multiplied by 36 multiplied by 8. And here we have 96 pi centimeters cubed. And we find that they have the same. They have the same volume. Okay. So next, what is the formula for a sphere? Well, the formula for a sphere, let me move this, is as follows. Formula is 4/3 R3 R to the third power, sorry. Okay. So now we have to compute the exact volume for the sphere shown below. Okay. And here's how we do that. Okay. Let me just get one thing. Okay. I don't know where my angle is. Sorry, guys. Missing something here. All right, sorry guys. So, all right, here we go. We have volume equals 4/3 r squared, r cubed equals 4/3. We have 4 cubed equals, so 4 cubed. Oh, where's my button? Oh, there it is. Cubed equals 64. Oh, throwing things around, guys. We need a pi in there. Sorry, guys. I knew we needed a pi in there. All right. So multiply that. So we've got 64 multiplied. So 4/3 pi times 64. So 64 multiplied by 4/3, and we get 85 1/3. Pi. And we're going to leave that like that. Okay. So now, last problem. We have a sphere inside a cylinder. A cylinder has a diameter of 16 inches. There we go. And a height of 14 inches. Okay. What is the volume of the largest sphere that will fit into the cylinder? Okay. So it says, what is the radius of the base of the cylinder? So the radius of the base of the cylinder, okay, is 8. So the radius equals 8. Okay. It says, could the sphere have a radius of 8 inches? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay. Because it has to fit height-wise. By height. Okay. So what size radius for the sphere would fit into the cylinder? The radius would have to be 7 inches. Okay. Now that we know the radius of the largest sphere is 7 inches, what is the volume of that sphere? Well, the volume then would be 4/3 pi r cubed. So it would be 4/3 pi 7 cubed. So let's get our calculator out. 7 cubed equals, so put that in, 4/3 pi times 343 equals, multiply that times 4/3 equals 457 1/3 pi. We could also leave that as an improper fraction. We can also multiply that by pi if we wanted to have that as a decimal, but I'm going to leave it this way. So inches. Okay. All right. I believe that's the end of our lesson. Let me just check it out here. Oh, nope, it is not. Okay. So we got a couple more examples here. All right. Our next example says use the diagram to answer the questions. Okay. So it says which of the figures shown above has the greatest volume? Okay. So here we've got our cone. So we've got our volume here is volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So we have 1/3 pi. Our volume here is, or our radius here is 2.5 squared times our height is 12.6. And here we've got 2. Ooh, that's a little hard to read. looks like 2.8. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we got 2.8 multiplied by power of 3. And we are going to multiply that by 4/3. Oop, yep. And we are going to get, well, and we're going to multiply that by, if we better do this a different way here, times 3. So we've got 4/3 pi times 21.952. And now we're going to multiply this whole thing together. So we got that multiplied by pi, multiplied by 4/3 equal. So we get 91.952232258. So let's multiply this other one. So we've got 2.5 squared equals. So we've got 1/3 times pi times 6.25 times 12.6. So let's multiply that all out. So multiplied by 1/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 12.6. So here we've got 82.466,807.16. So we find that the sphere has the biggest volume. Okay. It says use the diagram to find the volume of each and determine which has the greater volume. Well, we did it up here. Okay. All right. Next. Now, does one of the two halves of the sphere formed by the plane through the sphere center called a hemisphere? What is the formula for the volume of the hemisphere? Well, if we take the volume of a sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed, and we take half of that, we multiply that out, we get 4/6 pi r cubed, and simplify that, we would get 2/3 pi r cubed, and that would be our formula. And that is our lesson for today.